Hold up. Team USA just quietly updated Caitlin Clark's profile, and the internet is losing its mind. But here's what nobody's talking about. The numbers behind this comeback tell a completely different story than what you're being sold. Let's be honest. The moment Caitlin Clark's name drops anywhere, content explodes. Algorithms light up. Views skyrocket. But I'm not here to feed you fantasy. I'm here to show you the cold, hard reality of where women's basketball actually stands right now. And trust me, it's not pretty. Team USA dropped new footage over the weekend. Caitlin's back on the floor. Everyone's celebrating. But when I dug into the actual performance metrics, when I tracked how the algorithm responded, when I looked at viewer retention across 3 days, something became crystal clear. Day 1, numbers bounced around. Day 2, same story. Day 3, massive drop-off. Here's the uncomfortable truth nobody wants to admit. Yes, there's a huge audience invested in Caitlin Clark, but there's an even bigger group that simply does not care about women's basketball long-term. They showed up for the spectacle. They are not staying for the sport. And if you think I'm being harsh, just wait until you see what's actually happening behind the scenes. Because while everyone's celebrating this Team USA camp like it's some kind of victory lap, the entire league is teetering on the edge of disaster. The CBA negotiations still stuck. Another proposal just got rejected. And that January 6th deadline is approaching fast. 6 weeks. That's all we've got before this entire momentum wave could crash into a lockout. Let me paint you the nightmare scenario. No season in 2026. Viewership already trending down, and the safety net everyone keeps pointing to. Unrivaled. Let's talk about those numbers for a second, because last year Unrivaled didn't deliver anywhere close to what it needed to carry the sport through a shutdown. Not even close. But nobody wants to have that conversation. So when Team USA updates Caitlin's headshot and refreshes her bio, yeah, it's news, but it's also a distraction from the real crisis brewing underneath. Look at that new photo. She's clearly dropped weight. Shoulders look leaner. This is logo Caitlin. This is the version that pulls up from half court and drains it without thinking. And judging by the footage that dropped, she was knocking down logo threes all weekend long. Here's what they added to her professional notes. Rookie season with the Fever. Set the league single season assist record at 337 assists. Single game record, 19 assists. Broke the rookie scoring record with 769 points. First rookie to achieve a triple-double. Named 2024 WNBA Rookie of the Year. Only rookie selected to the All-WNBA First Team. First rookie since 2009 to make First Team. 5th overall in league history to accomplish that. Every time you look at those stats, it hits you again. The numbers don't lie. They remind you exactly how special she is. But here's where it gets interesting. Because while Caitlin's dominating on paper, the infrastructure around her is crumbling in real time. Now, let's talk about what actually went down at that Team USA camp. 3 days in North Carolina. A little snow. A little winter weather in the South. But more importantly, a chance to see what head coach Cheryl Reeve is prioritizing as she puts her stamp on this program. And honestly, seeing these players in live game situations again was the real story. Think about this. Caitlin hasn't played competitive basketball since July 15th. 4 months off the court. Other players at camp, their seasons ended September 11th. It's been months since any of them faced real competition. So when they finally get back out there, you see the rust. You see the physicality ramping up. You see the real personalities coming out. One moment perfectly captures it. Caitlin's guarding Kelsey Plum. Kelsey's bodying her, knocking her off the ball. Caitlin gets called for a foul and immediately starts yelling at the refs, "She's grabbing me." And all the WNBA coaches sitting courtside watching this, they are cracking up. Classic Caitlin. Always competing. Always chirping. Then you've got Kelsey on the other end. She's been struggling a bit. Finally finishes through traffic and just screams right in Becky Hammon and Nikki Fargas' faces. They are laughing. Classic Kelsey, stirring it up. These are the storylines that carry over from the WNBA season straight into these camps. The rivalries. The intensity. The edge. Sue Bird even commented on how impressed she was with Caitlin staying engaged during her time off and getting back into game shape. But let's get into what Caitlin actually looked like on the court, because this is where the reality check comes in. The step-back three, still there. Deadly as ever. The passing, still elite. But here's the thing. When she wasn't playing with Aaliyah Boston, some of the other bigs had no idea what to do with her passes. There was one play where she fired a pass to Dearica Hamby, and Hamby brought the ball down. You can't do that with Caitlin's passes. You have to keep it up high. Catch and finish. But Hemby wasn't expecting it. And that's the difference. FIBA basketball is more physical than anything these players face in the WNBA, which is saying something considering all the conversations about physicality during the 2024 season. Watching Caitlin go against scout team players who were specifically instructed to play at FIBA-level physicality was telling, especially considering how long she's been out and the fact that she's still ramping up from injury. But she looked good. More than that, she looked happy. You could see it individually, telling media members how nice it was to talk to them again. How good it felt to be part of the basketball process, even with all the media responsibilities attached. After months away from true 5-on-5 competition, this camp was about reconnecting with the game itself. The skill was there. The vision was there. The confidence never left. But more than anything, you could feel her joy in just being back, and honestly, that's what this camp was really about. Not results. Not making cuts. Not evaluating who's in or out. It was about momentum. About setting the tone for what comes next. 4 to something. Now, here's where things get spicy. Annie Costabile sat down with the Indy star yesterday for an interview. And I'm not going to lie. I thought this thing would blow up. I really did. For an interview featuring first-hand access to Caitlin Clark at Team USA camp to not even crack 5,000 views, that's wild. Genuinely surprising. And look, no hate here. I want everybody to win. But you got to win the right way. No buying views. No buying subscribers. Just organic growth and real support. That's how you build something that lasts. But this interview with Annie Costabile and Chloe Peterson from the Indy Star is sitting at around 450 views right now. That's criminal. Chloe Peterson is one of the first WNBA reporters to really speak in detail about what she personally saw when granted access to Caitlin. That alone makes it worth watching. The full interview is nearly 2 hours long. They cover everything, not just Caitlin, but the environment around her, what she looked like up close, the vibe during that access period. First-hand perspective like that is rare. So, let's break down what they said about Caitlin, because this is where you get the real inside of you. Annie talked about how this camp represents a shift in Team USA's development approach. Seeing this young group come in for their first senior national team camp was exciting, but there's still a lot of work to be done. Caitlin's coming off injury. This was the first time anyone had seen her operating at 100% since she got hurt. And even she admitted that while she feels like she's at 100%, there's still rust to shake off. A lot of rust. That's the reality. You can be physically healed and still not be game ready. Conditioning, timing, rhythm, all of that takes time. But here's what stood out. That shot of hers, the one we're all so familiar with, still there. Deadly. Her speed was coming back, which was noticeable. Her timing on passes was still impressive. Classic Caitlin. But defensively, that's still the area that needs improvement. Anyone who watches her game knows it, and watching her go up against Kelsey Plum on defense was telling, because Kelsey's crafty. She knows how to exploit defensive weaknesses. So, seeing Caitlin trying to guard her while still shaking off that rust was a bit of a reality check. Then you've got Caitlin and Paige Boyce matched up against each other. That wasn't about one versus the other. It was about evaluating how these two are going to operate together someday. Someone asked Annie online who's standing out and who looks like they're getting cut. And her response was perfect. That's not the purpose of this camp. This isn't about making cuts after one session. This is about development, about building chemistry, about setting a foundation. So here's where we'll land. This camp felt less about results and more about the bigger picture. After months away from competition, seeing these players back on the floor competing, chirping, laughing, carrying over storylines from the WNBA season, that's what matters. For Caitlin in particular, just being back in live action was the biggest takeaway. But let's zoom out, because while everyone's celebrating this feel-good moment, the league is still in serious danger. The CBA negotiations are stuck. The lockout risk is real. Viewership momentum is shaky. And the numbers I'm seeing for 2026 projections, they don't paint a strong picture. That's why tracking Caitlin's impact is so critical. That's why keeping her visibility high matters. Because without her, this surge risks becoming a one-hit moment, a flash in the pan. And I'd rather tell you the hard truth than sell you a fantasy. The camp offered a glimpse into how USA basketball is shaping its identity under new leadership, emphasizing physicality, intensity, engagement. Even in a short window, you could see the tone being set. Add in unexpected storylines like Angel Reese's comments about Chicago, and it's clear this wasn't just about drills. It was about momentum.as. Conversations around the new CBA and the future of the league continue. This camp felt like an important first step forward, setting the tone for what's next, for the players, for the program, for the sport. But the question remains, is it enough? Can this momentum hold through a potential lockout? Can women's basketball sustain itself without Caitlin Clark carrying the entire weight? Here's what I know. The algorithm tells me something important. There's still a large audience invested in Caitlin Clark, but that audience is not automatically transferring to the broader sport. And until that changes, until women's basketball builds something sustainable beyond one superstar, we're on shaky ground. So yeah, Team USA updated her headshot. They refreshed her bio. The internet went wild. But behind the hype, behind the celebration, behind the feel-good camp footage, there's a harsh reality brewing. And if we don't face it head-on, if we keep pretending everything's perfect, this entire wave is going to crash harder than anyone's ready for. Drop a comment. Let me know what you think. Are we overestimating the stability of women's basketball right now? Is Caitlin Clark enough to carry this sport through a lockout? Or are we heading toward a reckoning that nobody's prepared for? Let's talk about it. And if you made it this far, you already know. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, because we're covering every angle of the story as it develops. No fluff, no FCK hype, just the real numbers and the hard truths. That's the only way we do it here. I'll see you in the next one.